What time would you like to break for lunch? I don't want to interrupt a line of questioning, and so I just want to make sure that we're just taking a look at the clock and when you feel is a good time to break, roughly in that 12:10 range.
I will aim for that, Your Honor. That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, thank you. You may proceed.
May it please the court.
Yes.
Good afternoon, or morning still.
Good morning.
Officer Bagley, my name is Kathryn Nester. I'm one of the attorneys representing Mr. Robinson today, and I do have some questions for you.
Okay.
So you mentioned that you checked in around 11 a.m. on the day of the shooting. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you know in advance there was going to be this event on campus?
I did. I signed up for an overtime shift, so yes.
For
the special event, I signed up for the overtime shift.
Got it. And so did you attend any type of debrief or briefing or meeting to prepare for the security of this event?
I did not, because that morning when I got there, we had individuals on top of the Hall of Flags. So when I walked in, I just checked on, was going to get my uniform on. The chief Long got a text or an email or phone call stating that there's people on top of the Hall of Flags throwing stuff down to the tent. Therefore, he sent the two officers that were on duty down to secure the area. I got dressed and then came back on, and then went to the Hall of Flags to secure that area.
So you never attended any kind of, I'll just use the word debrief or meeting to talk about what the officers on scene were going to do that day to keep everybody safe?
No, not that morning.
Do you know if there was such a meeting?
I don't know, because when I got there, it was starting to, people were throwing stuff down on the tent.
And do you know how many UVU officers you guys employ normally?
There was 15.
And do you know how many were assigned to cover that event that day?
That were assigned to cover it. There was 6 of us that were, there was patrol 1 and then 5 others that were there with the chief.
Did you all have an idea there were going to be thousands and thousands of people there? Or was that a surprise to you?
Had an idea.
And you only had 5 officers?
6, yes.
6, I'm sorry, counting you, I was
Yes.
thinking. And of those 6 officers, are you all armed? Do you carry weapons?
Yes.
What type of weapons do you carry?
Glock, pistols.
Okay. And was there any use on campus of, I think they're called magnetometers, but the machines you walk through at TSA in the airport where it checks to see if you're carrying anything metal, what we all had to go through to get in the courtroom. Were there any machines like that set up or being used on campus that day?
No.
And as far as you know, were there any drones that were flying above campus that day?
Not that I know of.
And did anyone ever talk to you about covering anything near or on top of or in the Low C building? Were you ever assigned that area before the shooting?
No.
Do you know who was?
I don't.
And when you got up to the roof that afternoon, was anybody around that was law enforcement?
No.
Nobody on the roof?
No.
Nobody on the stairway?
No.
Nobody on the walkway?
No.
Okay. And in the state of Utah, is a campus a gun-free zone? Are students allowed to have guns on campus?
It's an open carry state, so yes.
And did you see anybody that was armed that day other than law enforcement?
I did not see.
Were you aware of whether Mr. Kirk had his own security team present there with him?
Yes.
Did you communicate with any of those people?
I saw one individual that was on top of the Hall of Flags right next to me, yes.
Okay, and that was before the shooting?
Yes, and then I saw several down in the crowds and down by him, yes.
And were you aware of whether that person was armed either?
I was aware he was armed.
Okay. Was there any other law enforcement agency besides Mr. Kirk's private security team and your 6 officers, including you, that were covering that event that day? In other words, did you have any Provo police or Orem police or anyone that you knew of or federal agencies?
I don't know.
You never saw any that day?
No, not until the response came in.
And you did mention, I think I heard you just a few minutes ago testify, you turned over the scene on the roof to a woman who was a deputy sheriff, right?
Yes.
And that you turned over the scene where the individual dropped off to, I believe you said, was it Orem Police?
Payson.
Payson Police, thank you. Those people weren't there till after the shooting, right? They were part of just a response of everybody in the area?
Correct.
Okay. Did you receive any type of briefing materials, written materials prior to the event that talked about who would be covering what or anything like that?
No, not that morning. Like I said, it started getting hectic, so we were trying to get down there, secure the area, and push people away from the top of the tent.
Now, when this event was over, you prepared a report, is that right?
I did.
And in the report, it covers a lot of what you testified to with Mr. Grunander, doesn't it?
Yes.
And I think you said you attended, what, 600 hours of post-training?
It's around 600 hours, yes.
And I'm sure somewhere in that training, you were taught the importance of your police report
Yes.
and how it will be relied on years later to recreate events like it's being done right now. And so you know it's really important to be as accurate as possible in your report.
Yep.
Can we put up Bagley 1? Can we switch it over to the defense table, please? Thank you so much. And show it only to the witness. This is his police report. It's mine. You want a copy?
All right.
Do you see that report in front of you?
I do.
And is that the report that you prepared, or did you prepare this report?
I didn't. I did a supplement on it, but I didn't prepare the report. So, like, because the incident was a big agency assist, so obviously it says it has all the responding officers to that effect.
Oh, we need to go to the page. Thank you for pointing that out. Can we please move to page 3 or 5, maybe? Let me look and see. All right, now let me ask the question again. Sorry, we just had the cover sheet up. Is that your report?
Yes, this is.
All right, and did you prepare that?
I did.
When did you prepare this report?
It looks like it was done the next day, either that day or the next day, because I wanted to make sure that I had it done where everything was fresh on my mind.
And do you have a copy of it in front of you?
I do, as a matter of fact.
May I just step in and just make sure that it's the same one? May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Oh, you're good.
We got to ask this now. Did you use AI to help you prepare your report?
I did not.
Okay, good. When you prepared your report, you referenced when you first heard the shot, don't you?
Yes.
And what is the time that you say that you heard the shot?
12:23.
Right. And when you wrote that report, you did not state in your report the direction you heard that shot come from, did you?
No, apparently not.
And take your time and look at the whole report and see if there's anywhere in there where you ever mentioned that it came from the east or to your right.
I don't see a direction.
Okay. And you also, I believe, in your report, you also don't state whether or not, you don't mention anything about thinking it came from the Low-C building or anything like that, right?
Later on, when I recognized when I saw the empty holsters, I think I actually said that in there, where I see the empty holster, that I realized the line of sight.
Okay. So let's talk about that holster for a minute. So you heard the shot, and you only heard one shot, correct?
Yes.
And then you came down from the walkway above the tent, right?
Yes.
and you came down to really the grassy area that we've all been looking at, the courtyard.
Yes.
And there was kind of chaos, people running around.
Yep.
Yes. And while you were down there, you saw what you said was an empty holster.
Yeah, as I was clearing people out and making sure that the evidence was preserved, about towards the top, after a little bit, I saw an empty holster sitting there.
And when you say towards the top, can you be specific and tell us where you were?
So on the south side in the courtyard, there's some tiers of seating where the grass is different levels, and it was towards the top, maybe just right before the cement is where everybody's standing. So there's different levels, is towards the top on the grass.
And when you saw the holster, can you describe to me what it looked like?
An empty concealed holster
For what type of
for
weapon?
a pistol.
Okay. And did it have any markings on it?
I didn't even know, not that I noticed.
And what happened to that holster?
I have no idea.
Did you ever take custody of it?
Nope,
Did you ever tell anyone else to take custody of it?
nope,
You just left it on the grass?
I did.
Was it ever fingerprinted to your knowledge?
I have no idea.
Okay. At some point, there were drones in the air. Is that right? Did you become aware of that?
Yes, I was made aware of that.
Right. Do you know who put the drones in the air?
Sergeant Cam Nelson with the Provo Police Department.
Right. So it wasn't UVU.
No,
Did you guys even have drone capability? Did you have a drone on campus that you used?
no,
All right. So someone would have had to bring one after the shooting onto campus because you wouldn't have had one there.
true.
Right. You mentioned that as you were coming down into the grassy area from the top above the tent, you come down the Hall of Flags, you come into the grassy area. You mentioned that you heard, I guess on your radio, that they had a suspect in custody.
Yes.
Right. And so how long do you think between the shot being fired did you hear that?
I was in, like I said, trying to get down the stairs, jumping over people, trying not to step on people as people were fighting up. Within 30 seconds, maybe.
Right. So they pretty much instantly had someone in custody.
Yes, and that's why I was quite surprised.
Were you aware of where the person was taken into custody?
Right down by where Charlie Kirk was sitting by his tent, somewhere down there.
So in the courtyard area, the person would have been in the courtyard area at the time of the shooting.
Yes.
Was that person in or near or around the holster in any way?
No.
You don't know?
No, what he wasn't. Where the
you
holster
wasn't.
was up on the top level up there, and it was where when the incident happened, when Charlie got shot. Within seconds, the other officer that was down by him said that he was in custody with a prisoner of the shooter. So they had been
So
within right there.
you didn't, at that time, it was your understanding the person they took into custody was close by Mr. Kirk, is that right?
Yep.
But it didn't occur to you that, well, that's not where I heard the shot come from. They must have the wrong person. I should talk to somebody.
During the chaos moment, no. They said they had a person in custody. I figured those guys saw something I didn't see. They took the person in custody, and I thought that was him.
Okay. This would be a good stopping place because I'm about to start another section.
Okay.
So maybe we could go 5 minutes early for lunch.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, officer.
We're going to go ahead and break for lunch. We'll come back at 1 o'clock. I do want to note for the camera operator, if you would just be cognizant and turn off the microphone during breaks and when we break for recess, that would be helpful. Does either party need the benefit of the record before we break for lunch? Noting the presence of counsel, I believe we left off cross-examination. Ms. Nester, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, may it please the court.
All right, you may.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I do want to circle back before I start my new section on I just want to specify two things. First of all, we talked about that you had no briefing or no materials about security on campus for this particular event. Did you ever have any operational or tactical plan that you were given for that event?
For this event, no.
Okay. And you also mentioned that you've done SWAT in the past.
Yes.
Were you a sniper?
I worked well with them, but I was not a sniper.
Okay. So when you, okay, just strike that. Also, we talked about the holster that was found. Are you aware if there were any other guns confiscated on the scene that day?
I'm not.
You don't know one way or the other?
I don't know.
All right, now I want to go through with you your timeline. You mentioned that you started at the Hall of Flags, right? And then you came down. It took you a minute to kind of navigate the stairs with the crowd and the chaos and everything. And then you were in the grassy area of the courtyard for a bit. Is that right?
Yeah, so about 30 seconds to get down the stairs, and then I went right down to where the tent was.
And that's where you found the holster.
No, the holster was up higher. So I went down by the tent, so it's lower level. So as I came down towards where Charlie Kirk was shot, I went down towards the tent to assess to see what was going on down there, because I didn't know exactly what. I heard the gunshot, didn't know exactly what was going on.
I'm sorry, I missed that you went down to the tent. So let me ask you about that. So what did you do when you got down to the tent?
When I got down to the tent, Charlie was gone. They put him in an SUV and left. At that moment, there were still some people running around, so I decided to preserve the scene as much as I could with trying to escort people out, and that's why I went back in and started pushing people off the grass area to conserve any ammunition or any casings or anything to that effect that would be around. I wanted to make sure people were off and there was as much evidence preserved as possible.
So just to be clear, by the time you got to the tent, Mr. Kirk had already been removed and taken from the scene. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So in your professional opinion, what was the perimeter of the crime scene?
What do you mean by the parameter?
The perimeter, like how far did this crime scene stretch? Like where did you want people to move off of?
Oh, well, at first I wanted them all off the grass because, like I said, I thought we had a suspect in custody, so to me it would be a close encounter, so I was trying to push everybody off the grass in case there were shell casings or to that effect that got on the grass. So after I pushed them off to that part and getting up to the top where I saw that empty holster, when I saw that empty holster is when things started slowing down for me a little bit. All the chaos and stuff that's when I realized that it was a rifle shot, not a handgun shot.
Okay. And that's when you saw the Low C building and it occurred to you should go check it out.
Yes, it was right in my line of sight.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole time that this is going on, you had an active body camera on your, I guess your collar, is that right?
I was right here on my
Your
chest. Yes.
Okay, and it was on.
Yes.
And it appears to me from reviewing your body camera that there was another individual who was with you that went to the Low C building who was in civilian clothing but appeared to have a gun. Who was that?
I don't know who he was exactly. He had a badge on, and I had somebody with me to back me up as I ran up the stairs to make sure I had somebody with me.
So you don't know what agency he's from or where he's from?
No.
And it looked like he had a pistol.
Yes.
Is that right?
A handgun, yes.
Or a handgun.
Yeah.
And so the two of you go to the Low C building.
Yes.
When you reviewed the videotape at the police department later, did you check to see if anyone had been on the Low C building after the shooting, after this individual had jumped off that you've already talked about? Was there anybody else on the roof? Did you check and see in that gap of time?
In that gap of time, no. So once I put up the barrier, I only walked up to about that point, then I went down and reviewed the video from that moment on.
So are you able to say for one way or the other if anyone else had been on that roof in between when the person jumped off the building and when you came on the roof? Are you able to say one way or the other?
There was people up there looking for an individual that ran that way, because when I first got told the individual ran heading north, that we didn't know where the shooter was, so we started climbing up and clearing the building. And it wasn't until I went to the PD and actually saw him jump off of the building that I knew he was off the building.
Let me rephrase that, because I think I either asked it badly or you misunderstood me. So let me go back again. So from the time that the individual that you spotted on the video jumped off the roof, right? The individual that you thought was in the prone position.
Okay.
Between that and when you got on the roof, did you ever check to see if anybody else had been on the roof in that period of time?
Yeah, and I didn't see anybody.
So you
I
did
didn't
watch?
notice anybody.
You didn't, did you look on the video to see that entire, okay, that's what I'm asking. So you did not review the video to see if there was someone between you, that individual jumping off and you coming on, if anybody had been on or disturbed
No.
that scene in any way? Okay. But once you put the tape up, then we're confident from that point on the scene was preserved, right? By the way, where did you get that tape?
Officers responded on the scene that he was down on the bottom and threw it up to me, so
Okay. So you didn't have it on you?
no,
And you didn't leave the scene to go get it?
no,
Someone threw it up?
yes.
Great. All right. While you were on the roof, did you encounter any spent casings?
As a matter of fact, no, that's why when I saw the prone position where a person would be laying down as a sniper, being around guns and snipers all the time, I was looking for a spent shell casing. I couldn't see one. I was looking over the edge, looking all over the place, making sure the gravel wasn't disturbed, and I couldn't find a shell casing at that moment.
And that
So-
would be, the reason you would be looking for that was because some types of guns, when they shoot, eject a casing automatically, right? Some
Yes.
do, some don't.
Yes,
All right. And then you also didn't find any unshot bullets?
no,
Okay. Are you aware of there being a bullet found on another roof? in
I'm
the
not aware.
Vicinity? Were you aware of another bullet being found on the scene, not on the roof of the Losi building?
No.
All right, your body cam footage that I reviewed appears to end while you're still on the roof. Do you know why that is?
I think the battery went dead. It was just right at that moment.
Okay. And do you know, did you ever turn it back on that day or go get it, I don't know, what do you have to do, charge it or stick a new battery in it? I don't even know.
Usually dock it, but no, I didn't go back. It was too chaotic running around.
So that 27-minute and 35-second body cam that starts when you're at the Hall of Flags and ends while you're still on the roof, but haven't put the crime tape up yet, that's the only body cam you have that day?
Yes.
All right. You mentioned when you went to the police department, you watched the video where you saw an individual up on the roof,
Yes.
right? And that individual was in the vicinity where you saw the disturbance in the gravel.
Yes.
And when you looked at that video, were you able to identify the individual's face?
I know.
Were you able to identify any markings on their clothing?
I know.
Were you able to identify their height?
No.
When we looked at the picture of the, I think you called it the sniper perch, so I'm going to use your words. It looked like there was a measuring tape laid out next to it. Were you present when they measured like the distance, like how tall that person would have been?
I was not.
So you don't know what that is?
I don't.
Were you able to tell the person's weight from the video that you saw?
I can tell he wasn't heavy set. So
Okay.
More of a skinnier person.
Could you identify what shoes they were wearing?
I could not.
Could you identify anything about a hat or what was on their head?
At the moment, no, I couldn't.
Okay. And did you see a gun in the video?
I saw a long black object in the left hand as he was running across the roof.
And in fact, did you describe that in your report as a bag?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why.
All right, let's pull that report back up, please. Oh, never mind. I don't think you mentioned what you saw. So in your report, pull that back up, please, page 5 on the Bagley one. So looking at the second page, you're actually going to have to go to page 6, I think. You talk about what you saw in the video where they jumped off the roof. And again, I'm going to remind you of our conversation we had before about you understand how important these reports are.
Yep.
And do you mention anywhere in this report that you saw a gun?
I did not. I just had an object.
Did you mention that you saw that object? Is that on here?
Nope.
Okay, so you left that out. Now, have you looked at that over and over again?
The video? No,
Yeah.
I've only seen it twice.
Oh, really?
Yep.
When's the last time you saw it?
It's been months.
Okay. The last time you saw it, were you able to tell what that object was in his hand?
Yes.
Now-
Well, not tell what it is. I could see there's an object in that left hand, yes.
And could you, knowing what you know about the case today, do you have an idea about what that object was?
It looks like a rifle or something to that effect, a long object.
It looks like a rifle?
Like a long object, like skinny and long. You can see it's like almost like it's covered over something.
So you saw the cover, which was the towel, right?
Yes, and the shape of it is long.
Okay.
You know.
So you can see a towel, but you can't see an actual
I don't know if it
gun.
was a towel or a blanket. I don't know what it was.
But you can't see an actual gun?
No,
the video.
like an object, like a form of a gun, like a long object.
Okay. All right. At the end of that day, what time did you leave the campus?
It was probably like 9 o'clock that night, maybe, somewhere around there.
And did you come back the next morning and work some more?
I came back the next morning, yes.
And you worked all day the next day?
On and off.
When you left at 9 p.m., did you or anyone else know who the shooter was on that day?
No, not that I know of.
And when you came back the next morning and worked that afternoon, all that day, did you or anybody on that campus know who the shooter was?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So nothing that you found that day or anyone else to your knowledge on campus was able to identify who the shooter was?
And that day, no.
Right.
Well, during the time I was there, no, that I knew of.
I also want to talk to you about that giant picture that was showed to you. Do you know?
Exhibit 35, I think.
Yes, it's Exhibit 35. Do you know who took that picture, where it came from?
I do not.
Do you know how old it is?
I have no idea.
Okay. And the pictures you were shown, Exhibits 1, 2, and 3, that you got up and kind of talked about and showed all the buildings and everything. Do you have any knowledge about where those pictures came from? Or who
Yes,
took
they were
them?
drone footage, just taken from a drone.
Do you know who was operating the drone?
Sergeant Cam Nielsen from Provo Police Department.
Provo Police Department. Had you seen those pictures before today?
Before today, yes.
When did you see them?
A couple weeks ago.
And that was just in preparation for testifying?
Yes.
Prior to that, had you ever seen those pictures? Can I have the court's indulgence for just a moment, Your Honor?
You may, Ms.
Just one
Nester.
moment. One last thing I want to clarify. We heard you testify that Ms. Richards, or I don't know if she's Deputy Richards.
She's a state employee for the forensic lab.
So Ms.
Melissa.
Richards.
Melissa.
She is the one who took those nighttime pictures of the stuff on the roof.
Yes.
And you testified that she told you that that was what they looked like that day.
Yes.
When did you meet with her?
I talked to her on the phone. It was several weeks ago in preparation for the trial.
So prior to a couple weeks ago, you'd never discussed those pictures with
Yeah,
her?
because I'd never seen them.
Oh, so a couple weeks ago is the first time you saw them?
Yeah.
Right. And did you write any kind of supplement to your report, to add on to your report, other than what we've gone through today, that one report you wrote? Have you ever written another one?
I have not.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
You're picking up with cross-examination of Agent Hull. Ms. Nester, your witness.
May it please the court, thank you. Good afternoon, Agent Hall.
Good
You and
morning.
I have met before, but just to remind you, my name's Kathryn Nester. I'm one of the attorneys representing Mr. Robinson. So when did you leave the SBI?
The State Bureau of Investigation?
Yes,
March of this year.
March of this year?
Yes.
So you were involved in this investigation from September to March, basically.
Yes.
And your new position at Post, what is your new position?
I'm an investigative sergeant.
So you investigate potential wrongdoing of police officers?
Correct.
Okay. So when you were first brought into this case in September, is it my understanding from your testimony that you were not engaged in any way with this event prior to getting a call after the shooting? Is that correct?
Correct.
Does the SBI on occasion assist other agencies with preparing for big events like this or not? Is that not typically something you do?
Not something that I've ever been involved with, no.
Okay. And what time did you arrive on campus that day?
I believe it was shortly after 1:30.
So approximately an hour after Mr. Kirk had already been removed from the...
Approximately, yes.
Okay. And were you involved in putting up any drones into the air? Were you part of that, or were you not
It's
involved in
not,
that?
no.
So how quickly after you arrived on scene did you become aware that you were actually going to be in charge of the scene?
I believe it was approximately an hour after, so what would have been approximately 2:30.
So for the first 2 hours, you were not in charge?
For the first 2 hours, I didn't arrive till 1:30, so no.
Okay. And once you came from on high that you were basically going to be in charge of the scene, what was your first priority? What were you focused on?
We were focused on, through our major crimes team and our lieutenant, putting together an investigative team and developing initial assignments and a plan as to what we were going to do moving forward.
And part of that is protecting any potential forensic evidence that may be found on the scene. That's clearly important, right?
Correct.
Preserving the scene, right?
Correct.
But it sounds like that's not really your area. That was more maybe Agent Faumina's area.
Agent Faumuina was assigned to process and document the crime scenes. It was my understanding that the known scenes at that time, amid the chaos, had been contained and had been secured by the on-campus officers who were already on scene.
And what's your understanding of what the known scenes were? In other words, the area where there might potentially be evidence that you needed to process.
I know that the amphitheater area was cordoned off and managed as best it could with the number of people that were there. I was also made aware that there was a rooftop area that had been secured, and also an area off of the side of that building that had been secured by an officer.
And that building was the Losi building.
Correct.
Wasn't there also a bullet found on another building?
I believe an unfired bullet had been found on another building at some point during my time there on September 10th, yes.
Which building was that, sir?
I don't recall.
Was that considered a scene that was worth preserving?
It was not. My recollection is that that was accounted for as an ejected cartridge from an officer who had cycled his rifle.
Okay, I thought you said it was an unfired bullet, and now you're saying it was a
that's correct.
cartridge?
When a weapon is cleared, an officer would make his rifle ready, which would chamber around.
Oh, I got you.
My understanding was that that's how that was accounted for.
So an officer claimed that bullet belonged to him or her?
That's my recollection, is that was how it was accounted for.
And when was that accounted for?
I don't know specifically.
Do you remember what type of bullet that was?
I don't.
Was it a 30-06? Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay. Do you know where that bullet is now?
I don't.
Okay. So you had the amphitheater area that had to be preserved. And how far out did that stretch? The entire amphitheater, or just the area around the tent, or what?
My understanding was the entire amphitheater area was cordoned off, and there were attempts to secure the campus itself with a perimeter of officers who were monitoring or preventing people coming and going.
when you arrived on the scene, were you aware that an individual had been taken into custody?
I had heard that, yes.
Did you ever have any interaction with that individual?
I did not.
And were you advised at any point that that person was no longer a person of interest?
Information was passed down that the individual was not considered to be a suspect in the shooting.
And when was that, time-wise?
I don't recall specifically, but I know I was on campus when I had heard.
So whoever arrested him as a potential suspect got that wrong. He wasn't the actual suspect, right?
So he got what wrong?
That he was the shooter.
The person I believe to be the shooter was not the individual who was taken into custody, correct?
And then was there anybody else taken into custody as a person of interest?
There were several people who were detained for questioning and who were interviewed throughout the investigation.
And none of those people were they were all ultimately cleared by you or somebody connected with you?
Correct.
And were there any other guns confiscated on the scene that day?
There were other firearms that were located on the scene, yes.
How many guns were confiscated that day?
I don't know specifically confiscated, but I know that there was a firearm found in a backpack that was accounted for during the day.
What type of firearm was that?
It was a handgun,
Any other guns that were found on the scene?
not that I recall.
Do you recall an individual named Noah Gonzalez being interviewed?
I don't recall that name specifically.
Let me see if it refreshes your memory that he was an off-duty, I think maybe trooper that was on the scene that day and that was involved in recovering the holster? Does that refresh your memory?
I know that a trooper was interviewed having been on scene. I don't recall if it was Gonzalez. I don't recall the name, but I do know there was a trooper that was interviewed, yes.
Okay. And just a moment, Your Honor. And do you recall the trooper that was interviewed saying that there was actually a gun found in that holster?
I do not.
You do not?
No.
Okay. Can we pull up? Exhibit Hole 13 and just show it only to the witness for right now? All right, can we go to page 2 of that report? Do you recognize this report? Have you reviewed it as part of your investigation duties?
I do recognize the report now, yes.
Okay, and this is a report prepared by actually Mr. Davis, who's going to testify later in this matter. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and on page 2, this is the interview of Noah Gonzalez. Is that right?
That's what it stated on page 1, yes.
And he's an off-duty trooper who happened to be there that day?
Correct.
And do you see on the second paragraph, does that refresh your memory about whether Trooper Gonzalez believed there was a gun found in a holster in that area of the amphitheater?
Trooper Gonzalez included in his report that there was a gun, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. When did you first personally go up to the roof of the Losi building? Do you remember the time of that?
I don't recall. I know it was dark when I went up to the roof, so it would have been later that evening.
And at the time you went up there, there was already crime scene tape that had been placed around it?
There was an officer standing security.
Right. And to your knowledge, as the head of the investigation, did they ever find any bullets or casings anywhere on the low-C roof?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Did they ever find any bullets or casings anywhere around the low-C building?
When you say around the low-C building, you mean how close? Like immediately around the low-C building?
Correct.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. And then you've been talking a lot about a timeline here that seemed, you talked about it when you were watching the video, but you also talked about the fact that you developed a timeline, is that right?
Correct.
And can you pull up hole 1, please? I'm pulling up on your screen your report that you prepared. Do you recognize that?
I do, yes.
And what's the date that you drafted that report?
Looks like September 14th. It says date created.
And that's the place where, if you could go to page 2, please. Do you see down at the bottom where you summarize Sergeant Bricker's report listing the timeline?
Yes.
Okay, and so it was actually Sergeant Bricker that prepared the timeline, is that right?
He prepared a timeline.
And you incorporated that into your report?
No, I created a timeline.
You created your own timeline?
Yes.
Separate from the one that's in this report?
Yes, using information obtained in the investigation.
And when did you create that timeline?
Over the course of the investigation, over a long period of time, after a lot of reviewing video and investigative time.
So, as of September 14th, Tyler Robinson had already turned himself in to the authorities, is that right?
Yes, I believe he turned himself in on September 11th.
So, prior to the time that Tyler Robinson turned himself in, had you all prepared a timeline?
A documented written timeline?
Yes.
Not to my knowledge. I don't know when Sergeant Bricker produced his specifically.
And isn't it fair to say that as of the moment that Tyler Robinson voluntarily surrendered to authorities in Washington County, as of that moment, you all did not know who the shooter was. Is that right?
We had identified a person of interest, but we did not specifically know who the shooter was at that time.
Okay. And you became aware that Mr. Robinson was voluntarily surrendering how? How did you become aware of that?
That information came originally, I believe, from the Washington County Sheriff to the administration at the control center at the university on the evening of the investigation,
Okay.
or the second evening of the investigation.
All right, we're going to get back to that in a minute, but I just wanted to get the timeline down. All right, now I want to go back to the videos that we've seen and the question that I just asked before, which is it fair to say that nothing about the video of the individual on the roof revealed to you, you couldn't see facial features, you couldn't see what they were wearing, correct?
Of the individual on the roof?
Correct.
I know that there was a meeting to discuss perhaps a pattern on the front of the shirt that was observed when the individual was jumping off of the roof.
Okay, that's fair. But at that time, as of the 11th, before Mr. Robinson turned himself in, you all had not been able to determine that, is that right?
Excuse me. Determine who he was, or
No.
determine distinguishing features?
Determine distinguishing features of the video
Yeah.
of the person on the roof.
Yes, we had a person of interest, and those images were released to the press.
You're talking about the ones in the stairwell from the
Correct.
from the parking garage.
Correct.
But the video on the roof was not distinguishable. Fair?
That video as a standalone
Yes.
was not, no.
Okay. And in fact, the video on the roof, well, strike that. Is it true that you had some spectators that you interviewed that had gotten a photograph a few seconds before the shooting of someone on the roof?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question.
Did you, at some point in your investigation, collect from two young men who were present at the event a video that they had taken of someone on the roof about 10 seconds before the shooting?
Yes, a video, yes, not photographs. A video was collected from an individual who had a video.
And ultimately, some screenshots were taken out of that video, is that right?
By,
By you?
not by me, no.
Okay. That's fine. It could have been someone else.
Okay.
But did you see the video that those young men took?
If you're referring to the video that is looking north and shows an individual dressed in dark clothing on the corner of the roof,
Yes.
if that is the video, I have seen that video, yes.
Did you review the interview of those young men?
I did not.
Do you know how they described the person on the roof?
I don't know if I read it or if I heard it, but my understanding was they believed it was Overwatch or some kind of a police Overwatch for the event,
Okay.
if that's my recollection.
And do you remember anything specific about the person's build that they discussed when they described the person on the roof?
I do not know.
Okay. There is a portion of the video after the individual jumped off the roof, which we all saw here, where the individual crosses, I believe it's Campus Drive. Is that right?
Correct?
And there's a moment where the individual waits and there's two cars that pass in front of him, right in front of him.
Correct?
And is this the moment where you are submitting that he was holding a gun in his hand?
As across the road?
Yes.
From my observations, would show that he's carrying an object in his hand that's concealed or in a bag, and it is long and has the appearance, based on my training and experience, it could be a firearm.
But do you see a gun anywhere? The actual gun?
In the video?
Yeah.
No.
All right. And did anybody that was driving by on Campus Drive that day report to you or any other investigative entity, hey, we just drove by a guy with a gun who was leaving campus and he was standing right by my car?
We did not receive any reports to that effect, no.
Okay. Also, when you were revealing the timeline, exactly how long was there between when the person was prone on the roof and when the shot was taken? Do you recall?
If you would like to replay the video, I can time it for you, but I don't recall. It was, my guess, I would estimate between 15 and 30 seconds.
So between 15 and 30 seconds to lay flat, take a shot, and get up and run off, right?
I think you asked how long he was prone. I
Right.
think it took longer for him to crawl into position
Okay.
and then establish a position
Oh.
and then take the shot. He appeared to be in prone for approximately 15 to 30 seconds, but the video would verify that.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I want to talk to you for just a minute about the video that was taken. And I'm not going to get into I'm not going to show it, just so that in case anybody's concerned about leaving the courtroom, I'm not going to show it. But there was a video that was taken by Mr. Ty Phillips from behind the individual that was speaking to Mr. Kirk.
Correct?
And it showed like a dead-on view of Mr. Kirk and parts of his security team. Is that right? And then you also have video that you described that shows the back of the tent at the moment the shot happened. Is that right? Behind Mr. Kirk.
You're referring to the UVU video in the breezeway?
Yes.
We have that video, yes.
Okay. And can we pull up the last video, the last clip, 49? I want to show you, just you, this clip. That is a little clip from that video under the breezeway that's behind the tent, right?
Correct.
And just to be clear, this area behind the tent would not have been visible to anybody that was on the Losi building. Is that fair?
I can't answer that question.
Yeah, sure.
And Ms. Nester, as you're playing this, are you just being cognizant if the sound is on or not?
I don't want the sound. Please.
Okay, I just wanted
not-
to
Thank you for bringing
clarify.
that. Thank you.
All right.
No sound. I just want only the witness to look at it. So can you just watch this clip for just a minute? This one little clip of behind the breezeway at the time of the shot.
That's fine. And so just as a reminder to all the parties, if it's on your monitor, please be cognizant of that. It will not be displayed on the main monitor. Ms. Nester, you may proceed.
Thank you. Is it playing? Okay. Do you remember that? Does that refresh your memory of what's in that clip?
Yes.
And having reviewed that, at the time the shot was fired, there was no one standing directly behind the tent. Is that correct?
You'd have to show me it again. I wasn't specifically looking for that.
Okay.
But I can answer that question if I can view the video again.
Okay. And just before you do that, I think you testified before that Mr. Kirk would have been dead center behind that banner. Is that right?
Approximately.
Okay, so what I'm asking is if anyone behind that banner, dead center behind Mr. Kirk, if there was any people standing there. Go ahead.
So there's a videographer on the right side of the tent, and then I can only see as far as the video allows me to, so I can't speak to whether there's anybody out of frame who could have been behind the tent.
But what you can see, is there anyone directly behind the middle of the tent?
Yes, there's a videographer stood behind the tent.
To the right?
Yes, behind the tent.
Correct. But directly in the middle of the tent, is there anyone standing?
There's no one stood in the middle behind the tent, no.
Thank you. All right, I want to talk now about the TP. You can take it down off of the screen. Thank you. I want to talk now about the TPUSA video that you got. That was the angle that was taken from behind Mr. Kirk while he was talking, looking out at the audience during when the shot was fired. Do you remember that video?
The visual impulse videos?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Is it true that Visual Impulse provided 4 videos?
Yeah, I believe there were 4 total videos that encompassed everything that they provided to us, yes.
But the one that you showed, that's only one of the 4 that they provided to you?
That one that was shown had a Bates number. It was an item that was provided by Utah County Attorney's Office.
Okay, but were there more that you haven't seen in this courtroom, in this prelim, that you got from?
There's the original footage.
Okay. But were there other angles that are not shown here in this prelim?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to. Thank you. All right. Were you involved when the gun was located in the forest area?
I was not involved in the search for the gun, no.
Did you get notice when it was located?
From the footage that we reviewed, we identified an area that we believed could be potentially of evidentiary value, and then it was secured, and then I was notified that as a result of that search, a gun had been located, yes.
Were you involved in the processing of that gun? In other words,
I was not.
boxing it, shipping it, sending it wherever it was going to go to be
I
analyzed?
was not, no.
Okay, thank you. All right, now I want to shift to the autopsy for just a moment. You were not present at the autopsy, is that right?
I was not.
Okay. So anything you know about the autopsy was not from personal observation?
No, other than from my meeting with the medical examiner and his report, no, I was not present.
Did you meet with the medical examiner after he had conducted the autopsy?
I did, yes.
And when you met with him, did you provide him information about what you all had learned in your investigation so far?
We didn't have any reason to provide any investigative information to him. The purpose of the meeting was to establish what information he could provide to us.
Well, in fact, on the front page of the medical examiner's report, he talks about the investigation and information he learned. Did he learn that from you, or did he learn it from someone else?
It would be my recollection that he did not learn that from us, but I couldn't speak to how he did learn about it.
Okay, so you didn't share with him your conclusions about what happened or how Mr. Kirk was injured or anything like that?
That's my recollection.
Okay, thank you. And isn't it also true that fingerprints that were taken from Mr. Kirk and autopsy photos were provided to you on a CD?
Yes.
Was there anything else provided to you from the autopsy other than that?
Other than the CD and the report?
Yes.
Not to me, no.
Okay. You did mention not to you. Were you aware of anything else from the autopsy going to anyone else?
I believe standard practice is anything of evidentiary value that the medical examiner collects is transferred through a chain of custody.
And are you aware of anything that was transferred after Mr. Kirk's autopsy?
I'm aware that there were items transferred for evidence, yes.
What items?
I believe some fragments of a bullet casing. I know Mr. Kirk's personal items to be returned to the family. That's all I can recall off the top of my head.
Do you know how many fragments from the bullets?
I don't.
Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Ring camera that you obtained, and you interviewed a woman named Ms. Noble, is that right? To get that Ring camera that we watched with the car on the outside?
We interviewed her to verify the authenticity of the video, yes.
And were you involved in that interview?
With Miss Noble, yes.
And do you recall what they told you about what they remember seeing in and around that car that night?
I don't recall. I just know we were there to verify the video. I didn't conduct an interview with Miss Noble at that time.
Okay. Can we please bring up whole... Sorry, just a moment. Let's see. Whole 48. This is Miss Noble's interview. Do you have it? All right, do you remember that? Looking at that interview, does that refresh your recollection?
I remember reading the report at some point, yes.
And do you remember that the Nobles told you that the driver of the vehicle was bald?
I do remember that being in the report, yes.
And you didn't mention that today when you were talking about that Ring camera, did you?
I did not.
And did they also tell you there were 3 other people in the car?
Yes, I believe they thought that was the case.
Okay. I want to go back, if I can, to the scene itself, the preservation of the actual scene where Mr. Kirk passed. Did you all have canine dogs at any point that sniffed that area?
I don't know specifically that area, but I do know that canines were present, or a canine was present on the day.
But you don't know what task the canine was given?
My understanding was that it may have been used in an effort to track an individual that had jumped off the roof, but I don't know for certain.
And obviously that didn't produce any results, or we would have heard about that, right?
Yeah, not that I was made aware of.
Okay. Do you know when the tent and the stuff was actually removed from the scene?
I don't. I would imagine it had been at least a couple of days, if not longer than that, before anything was removed from the scene.
You didn't have to give permission to remove the tent?
Me, personally?
Right.
No.
So you're not sure when it was removed?
No.
And were you involved in the decision to pave over the dirt that was under the tent?
At UVU?
Uh-huh.
No.
Did you know that happened?
Only because it was in the news.
All right. But you don't know when or who ordered that?
Nope.
And it's true that during the time before Mr. Robinson turned himself in, you all received lots and lots of tips from the public. Is that fair?
Correct.
You received tips of death threats that Mr. Kirk had received before, the day before the shooting. Is that right?
I'm sorry, did we receive threats that Mr. Kirk had received before the event, or?
Let me clarify. That
Thank
was a
you.
confusing question. As you were going through tips that the public was giving you, did you receive tips about online death threats that had been made against Mr. Kirk prior to his death?
There was a huge variety of tips and information and suggestions that were being provided by the public.
Okay, and a lot of those, some of those filtered through you, right?
Some of them filtered their way down to us, but predominantly that was being handled by our State Information and Analysis Center that had been set up.
And you also got multiple tips about potential suspects, people who thought they recognized people in the picture, right?
Yes, there were different calls and information provided by the public.
And you had quite a few of those.
Correct.
And then Mr. Robinson turned himself in, right?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that the individual they used to facilitate Mr. Robinson turning himself in was someone known to Mr. Robinson personally that had been connected to law enforcement?
I know he was known to the family. I don't know his connection specifically with Mr. Robinson, but I am aware that someone was used to facilitate Mr. Robinson turning himself in.
And were you aware that he was one of his Boy Scout leaders? Did you know that?
I think I had heard that at some point. There was a connection. I didn't recall specifically what it was.
And Mr. Robinson, in fact, no police went to go arrest him. He drove himself, or he was driven with his parents to the Washington County Sheriff's Department, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
And he voluntarily walked in.
That's also my understanding, yes.
And that was the first moment you ever knew his name connected with this case.
Yeah, aside from the image that we had, that was the first time that we had a name of an individual who had taken responsibility, yes.
And did you personally ever meet with Mr. Robinson?
I did not.
And as far as you know, Mr. Robinson did what he said he was going to do. He told the police he was coming peacefully, he was coming with his parents, and that's exactly what happened.
I don't know any of the specifics of how he was arranged to turn himself in terms of what you've described. I just know that it was being facilitated with the sheriff's office.
Okay. Court's indulgence for just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you, Agent Hall. I tender the
Burt,
Thank
the
you.
witness.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your role in the case was kind of as the traffic manager of the whole operation, right?
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
And we're talking about multiple agencies besides the SBI, correct?
Yes.
Your agency, if I'm correct, wrote a massive report, 229 pages long.
Yes.
You've read that, you're familiar with it.
With most of them, yes.
Okay, and it's a compilation, right? You authored some reports, but a lot of other people wrote reports about aspects of the investigation.
Yes.
And as those reports were getting done, you would kind of read them and decide what needed to get done further?
Yes.
Was that one of the roles that you
Yeah.
performed in this case?
Yeah, yes, as well as consulting with the case agents.
Okay. Now, if my count is correct, 9 of those reports in that larger body of reports was written by you, correct?
Yes.
Did I miss any? Does
There are
that
more.
sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you about a couple of those reports. The first report was a report that you wrote on September 22nd that documented the overview of the crime scenes, correct?
Yes.
And there were various crime scenes that you've described on direct examination, correct?
Yes.
One of them was the Fulton Library.
Yes.
Tell us why that was a potential crime scene.
Yeah, of course. When officers were canvassing the scene, they were also trying to see, right, the route of the shooter as well as just trying to find the shooter. And they determined that the Fulton Library stood out because there were unattended items there at the bus stops that were away from the courtyard area, and so to them, they thought it was suspicious.
And were certain items seized from, and what were they?
Yes, you had a backpack, a jacket, as well as some gloves, and there may have been some other things. I just don't recall them right now.
And do you recall what the item numbers were of those seizures? Was it 9? Does that ring a bell?
I don't remember.
Whatever was seized was sent to the FBI lab for processing?
Yes.
And along with some information that the suspect may have shed some of these items as he fled, correct?
Yes.
Was a decision at some time made, and you were requesting that both DNA and other type of analysis get done?
Yes.
At some point, did you decide to pull a plug on that?
At the time when it was already sent, we didn't have more information as far as whether or not the evidence that were collected there were probative.
But eventually you communicated to the lab that those items were not in fact connected with the case and there was no need to do further testing.
I don't remember communicating that.
Okay. If that's in the notes of the FBI or the ATF, would that be inconsistent with what you know?
No.
Okay. I mention it because some of the reports, the lab reports, have those items listed.
Okay.
I just want to be clear that those items eventually you determined were not related to this case. Would that be fair?
Yeah, that would be fair.
Okay. The second report, at least as far as I can see, that you wrote was on September 24th, and it had to do with looks like a request for a search of firearms. Do you recall that?
Could you elaborate for me on the firearms?
This document documents the NIBIN request for firearms.
Yes, so that was the request to conduct, what that stands for, the NIBIN, is the National Integrated Ballistics Information Network. It is run by the ATF, and that is where we test or we input test fires or cartridge casings, the head stamps and whatnot, into a machine that is then run through the ATF to see if there's any other cartridge casings that match.
And nothing of value came from that part of your investigation, correct?
Correct.
Now, going back for a minute to the crime scenes, you talked about the wooded area, and you used the phrase, "we seized the towel." Who is we? Who are you referring to when you say "we seized the towel"?
We would be SBI as well as FBI. So that would be myself as well as FBI Evidence Response Team Lead Michelle Kamak, or Special Agent Michelle Kamak.
So you both reached into the bushes and you both grabbed it and pulled it out?
She did, but I was there with her and we were communicating that entire time.
Okay, so when you say "we seized the towel," what you really mean is she seized the towel and you observed her seize it.
Yes.
And when she seized the towel, can you describe a little bit more detail of how that process took place?
As far as when it was found or when she removed it?
Yeah, the photographs you showed us, were those the best photos you've got of that process?
That was taken by the FBI, so that's all we got.
That's all you got. And nobody was videoing the discovery and recovery of that evidence?
I believe one of the officers on scene actually had his body camera on.
And have you seen that?
I have not.
Do you know if there's any documentation of the exact process by which that towel got removed from the rifle and then, I guess, put back on the rifle, right?
No, it was not.
It was not put back on?
No.
Didn't one of the photos show the rifle in the box with a towel over it?
Yes. It
So-
wasn't over it. It was still wrapped around the gun.
Okay, but as I understood your testimony, the towel was seized by the FBI agent, and then somebody must have reached in and got the gun out, right?
No, I'll clarify for you. So
Sure.
the entire time when we retrieved it, the gun was wrapped in the towel. So when Special Agent Kamak reached in, she grabbed not only the towel but also the gun, and it remained, and the towel and the gun remained basically intact, lack of a better word, and then was placed onto the cardboard box, which is one of the photos that was shown earlier. Once we documented that, and then the towel was removed from the gun.
You also mentioned as to the other crime scenes that we processed it, but was your role in terms of your actual participation limited to the wooded area? Or were you involved in actually seizing evidence at the other locations, like the roof?
Yep, I was involved in coordinating all that and then determining from there where the evidence would go.
Involved in, is that the same thing as actually being on the roof and seizing the items? Or are we talking about something else?
Talking about something else.
And what is that something
So
else?
after the teams would have packaged all the items, sealed them properly, created an evidence log, they will then bring it back to the command post, and from there, we would compile everything, and then there was a discussion that was had as to who would take custody.
Fair to say that you did not observe yourself the seizure of the screwdriver from the roof?
Correct.
And who were the people who were actually conducting that part of the crime scene processing?
That would have been our state crime lab, those two people are part of our state crime lab's crime scene response team.
When did you review the video of the suspect running toward the area from which he jumped off?
That would have been, I don't know the exact time, but it would have been the day on September 10th.
You saw that on September 10th.
Yes.
And when were the windows processed for the latent fingerprints?
The windows were processed on September 11th, the next day.
And was the reason that those latent lifts were taken was because you wanted to rule out whether the suspect had touched that window?
Yes.
That's what the notes say, right?
Yes.
You were not present when that scene was processed either, correct?
Not the entire time, no.
Okay. Now, the other reports that I have that you did, and correct me if I'm wrong, is one report dated September 24th, documenting the forensic analysis as of September 24th, summarizing what you were hearing back from the ATF and the FBI.
Yes.
Okay. And then the fifth report was again about the crime scene progress of the forensic testing, right?
Yes.
All right. And then you have a report here which documents a firearm trace and a firearm seized at River Street.
Yes.
Nothing of value came of that, correct?
Correct.
You have a report that has to do with the latent print report from your people, SBI.
Yes, it's not SBI, it's actually the state crime lab, but yes, same department.
Same department. Just detailing the results of that examination, which the stipulation addressed,
Yes.
right? You have a report documenting the transfer of evidence from the FBI to your department.
Yes.
And then the last one that I have that you personally wrote has to do with again, summarizing forensic reports.
Yes.
Okay. The larger 229-page report indicates that there was some investigation done by your agency that involved interviewing associates of Mr. Robinson to see if you could develop some profile of him having animosity toward Mr. Kirk, correct?
I'm not familiar with that.
So you weren't involved in that at all?
No.
Some of the documents in that large report indicates that your agency has also, up to the present time, been monitoring Mr. Robinson's mail and communications at the jail. Correct?
Correct?
And have you kept abreast of that investigation?
No.
Do you know whether anything of value has been developed as a result of that?